And Real Madrid have just done it. They have just hijacked the deal. They've just said to Paris Saint-Germain, my brothers, I'll see you later. They've just grabbed the next wonderkid, the next generational signing, and the next big thing. Mr. Franco Mastantuono, the 17-year-old who every single person in Argentina knows, who every single person in South America knows. And if you don't know him, if you have got no idea about him, if you are confused on why Real Madrid is signing him, is he worth the hype? Is he worth the 45 million? How the hell is he going to be playing at Real Madrid? How does he play? What's going to happen to the current Real Madrid players, the likes of Arda Güler, the likes of Nico Paz, the likes of Rodrigo? How Xabi Alonso going to use him? Trust me, I know you've got so many question marks, but this is why I'm here. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to answer every single one of your concern. I'm going to tell you who the hell he is, how he's going to be played, and how Real Madrid, and why Real Madrid did what they did by hijacking the deal and getting Mr. Franco Mastantuono. Before we start, don't forget to, of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and, of course, comment your own thoughts about the player itself, about the signing itself, and how this signing is going to change things at Real Madrid. First of all, it's very important to know, let's talk about him as a player and who the hell Mr. Franco Mastantuono is. First of all, 17 years old. Got his professional debut at River Plate at the age of 16. At the age of 16. And bear in mind, he became the third youngest player to have his professional debut at River Plate. But the difference between him and the other players, number one, number two, the youngest ever at River Plate, is there is a big difference between them. Those players got their first professional debut and said, you know what, here you go, get a minute, and we might not see you again. With Franco, it was a completely different thing. With Franco, they had already known about him. They had already understood the hype about him. They had already seen the talent about him. He was a River Plate at the age since pretty much 2018. So River Plate has already had their eyes on him, and they knew that this guy was going to be the next big thing. He got his debut at the age of 16. A year later, not only is he now part of the team, rotational, part of the squad, he is now amongst one of the most important players, one of the most creative players, and one of the best players at River Plate. At the age of 17, playing with grown men in South America, which isn't easy, playing in a stadium full of 80,000 fans watching you every single week. So in terms of pressure, in terms of expectation, this kid has pretty much already handled it. Now about him as a player. Pundits, analysts, everyone in Argentina has compared him to three players and three players only. One of them being Riquelme, one of the best technical players that's come out from Argentina ever. Secondly, Leo Messi, which isn't a surprise. Every young player has been compared to Leo Messi. But one person specifically is Mr. Paulito Dybala. He had 1 year in Argentina, made himself known before making a move to Italy, to Palermo to be rather specific. And that's those three players is he being compared to. Who is he as a player? First of all, he can play as an 8, as a 10, or on the right-hand side, which is his preferred position. He likes to play on the right-hand side. He's a left-footed right winger, which I'll come to when it comes to Real Madrid, because we don't have many of those. But anyway, he's a right-footed right winger, left-footed. Very technical on the ball. When it comes to dribbling, he doesn't do it for fun. He doesn't do it to entertain. He does it with purpose, and that's the most important thing. Every dribble is a purpose. He leads Argentina, the Argentinian league, the Super League, with 3.4 dribbles. The second closest competition is 1.7. So in terms of dribbles, this guy can dribble for days. Secondly, very, very brave, very aggressive, very physical, build, very tall, which is what we need. Thirdly, defensively, he already has over 1.3 tackles a game, over 0.9 interceptions a game. So when it comes to defensively, he does his defensive duties, and he does it with passion. He does it with intent. He's not shy about it. He's not tired about it. He's not lazy about it. No. He drops deep to make sure he does his defensive contribution for his team. In terms of him, he's flary. I'm not going to pretend I've watched him every single week. I'm not going to pretend that. I've watched about 3 games of him. The one game that I watched him, he scored a last-minute penalty. Imagine this, 98th minute. 98th minute. River Plate was losing 1-0. They're losing 1-0. Cup, quarterfinals of the Argentina Cup. At home, full of 80,000 at I forgot the stadium fan, the Mamantó or something like that. Bro, guess who they gave the penalty to make it? By the way, they lose 1-0. Guess who they gave the penalty to? Mr. Franco Mastantuono. Not the Capitan, not the most experienced players. They gave it to a 17-year-old. And guess what he did? He equalised. They made it 1-1, went to extra time, went to penalties. He took his first penalty, scored, while River Plate lost. But that is the confidence at the age of 17, taking the deciding penalty, last-minute penalty, and taking the first penalty in the penalty shootout. The second game that I watched was a free kick in the Copa Libertadores, where he scored a free kick from over 40 yards. When it comes to set pieces, he's a specialist. When it comes to dribbling, he's a specialist. He's very creative, very direct. That's the most important thing. Very direct. Every dribble, like I said, is with a purpose. Every pass is with a purpose. He likes to find his man. He likes to look up whilst dribbling, which is very different to some players who they look down, and when they go to unnecessary spaces, they start looking up and they're under pressure. Very press resistant. He pretty much ticks that mold of a Dybala / Di Maria, which is two players he's sometimes compared to. But the way I've watched him, I don't think he strikes me as a Di Maria. He strikes me more as a Paulito Dybala, not due to the size or the build, just due to the control and the technique and the elegance about it. Then it comes to the signing itself. How much they're signing him for? Real Madrid are going to sign him for 45 million. They, just to make it very, very clear, Madrid had already had their eyes on him last year. Last year, he was worth 12 million. He then extended his contract to 2026, and River Plate, what they did, which is very smart, they knew the big clubs was going to go after him at the age of 16, so they said, you know what, let's now change his release clause. Rather than 12 million, let's change it to 45 million. All teams across Europe has been wanting to sign him. Chelsea, Liverpool, City, Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid. Most of those big clubs, they know about him. They know the talent, they know the ability. Hence the reason why Madrid has had their eyes on him for the past 12 months. Paris Saint-Germain, to be fair, 2 weeks ago, looked very, very close in getting him before three people made the phone call to not only Perez, but to Khalifa. Solari, a Real Madrid manager, a Real Madrid player, someone that Real Madrid respects very highly, they made the call and said, yo, make sure you don't lose him. Make sure you get him. Fernando Gago at Real Madrid, someone, the midfielder, also now a manager. I think he managed in Argentina. They basically said, make sure you have to get him. You have to get him. And Khalifa took a plane all the way to Argentina, sat down with him and said, you know what? I want you and I want you only. Xabi Alonso had a conversation with him and boom, 45 minutes later, after a 45-minute conversation with Mr. Franco Mastantuono, Real Madrid have now just confirmed the signing. Not confirmed, but they've pretty much not officially, but they've pretty much grabbed him. Now it leads me to the implication when it comes to EU. As you guys know, in La Liga, you're not allowed to have non-EU players, more than 4 players. The good thing about Franco is he holds an Italian passport. So the idea of him taking a non-EU spot is not going to happen. Plus, Madrid have already got a lot of spaces. Vini, Rodrigo, Militao has already now Spanish citizenship. The only person which holds a non-EU is, of course, Mr. Endrick. So they already have enough positions. But the fact that he's got an Italian passport helps things. Secondly, they have just eliminated all the competition, and it's good to get there early. It's good to grab him early before, in about 2 years from now, he's worth 100 million. Before 3 years from now, he's playing for Paris Saint-Germain as a guaranteed starter, and his value is 120 million. Sometimes with those young players, yes, I know it's hit and miss. Sometimes it's difficult to determine how good a young player is and whether the hype is actually worth it. Whether it's a gamble at the end of the day. Madrid have done it over the past decade. Ever since they lost out on Neymar, they've done it a lot where they're going to South America to grab the next big thing. It's worked out with Vini. It's worked out with Rodrigo. Endrick is still the question mark. It's still too early. Ranieri, if you guys remember him, they grabbed him for 35 million. This Donny has been going to loan deals after loan deals after loan deals. He's not good enough. So it works and it doesn't work. With Franco, all the possibilities and everything leads to the fact that it will work out. Now it leads me to Real Madrid. Now it leads me to what happens to this Real Madrid squad, because another player has now been added into the mix, especially amongst the midfield, striking, wing, 10 position, which we already have few players there. One of them has been Arda Güler, and I've seen a lot of people online say, well, this signing means that Arda Güler is not going to be playing for Real Madrid. That means Arda Güler made a complete mistake leaving. That's not the case. That is not the case. That is not how I see it. That's not how Xabi Alonso sees it. And that's not how Real Madrid sees it. Arda Güler is still a very, very important player in this team. There are some players which will be affected, and there are some players which will not be affected. Arda Güler is one of those players which will not get affected, because Arda Güler playing career, his time at Real Madrid for the next couple of years, is not going to be playing on the right hand side. It's going to be playing in the middle. Real Madrid see him, and Xabi Alonso see him as the Luka Modric here, as the person that's going to take the burden for Luka Modric, play mostly as a midfielder, whether that is as an 8, or most sometimes we might see him deeper. Because in terms of creativity, and I've said it since the beginning of last season, Arda Güler's game and his profile, it ticks all boxes of a midfielder rather than a right winger. And that's how Real Madrid sees it. So Arda Güler will not get impacted. One person who will get impacted is currently someone at loan, Mr. Nico Paz, who did very, very well at Como, had an incredible season at Como. But this means, with Franco coming in, this means that Nico Paz is not going to be coming to Real Madrid this summer. Most likely he's going to stay at Como or go to another big club. What I would personally do with Nico Paz, at the moment, Real Madrid, they've got the in terms of the how they sold him to Como, is they hold a 12 million buyback clause. What I would personally do, I'll activate that buyback clause 100% and send him to one club and one club only, to Bayern Leverkusen. Send him to Leverkusen. Wirtz is about to be sold, so Leverkusen, if you want a replacement to Wirtz, here you go. Nico Paz, get him there, sell him, and make sure you have another buyback clause in that contract, which pretty much gives you security. If you know he's going to do well in the next two years, you already have a buyback clause which you can get from him at any time you want. So Nico Paz will be affected. One more person which I personally think will be impacted by all of this is Mr. Rodrigo. I don't see Rodrigo staying at Real Madrid for the next year. I don't see this, and I'll make a video about that. This video is specifically made about Franco Mastantuono. For Xabi Alonso to call him, and for Califat to get his private plane to go all the way to Argentina, to sit down with him and make sure that he doesn't go to Argentina, it leads me to start thinking that Real Madrid want him, and they want him now. That's the reason why he's not going to be staying in Argentina for 12 months. Same way with Endrick. Endrick, they signed him 12 months ago. They signed him, but because he was young, they let him stay at Palmeiras, and then he came. With Franco, Real Madrid wants to sign him right now, and they want him before the Club World Cup. River Plate is basically saying, I'm happy to sell to you, I'm happy to accept your offer, but Franco is staying throughout this whole Club World Cup, because River Plate is also in the Club World Cup. So Franco will be joining Real Madrid after the Club World Cup, which to me, I don't mind that, because it now gives us we are now get to see him starting every single game for River Plate through group stages. Let me see who they're playing actually. Let me see who they're playing in the group stages, which will be very interesting, to be fair, because from there we can establish who River Plate. Let's have a look. So River Plate, so they're playing Orava Red Diamonds, Monterrey, and Inter. I can't lie. The first two games, I expect him to cook. The game against Inter Milan will give us all an idea whether this guy, in terms of talent, in terms of ability, is ready right now. By the way, I've got no concerns whether he will make it or not. I think he will make it. And I think if Xabi Alonso wants him, and the way Xabi Alonso is going to play at Real Madrid, now this leads me to the last part. How is he going to be fit at Real Madrid? Xabi Alonso can play so many different formations in Real Madrid, whether that is the 4-2-3-1, the 4-3-3, the 3-4-2-1, that 10, that right hand side 10. The way I look at it, I think he's going to play 4-3-3. And Franco has played in two different formations. He played the 4-4-2 as a right mid or the 4-3-3 as a right winger. So in terms of Franco, he can play both as the 10 or as a right winger. So he's well versatile in terms of playing all across different positions in the front trio. I think he's going to be playing. If Madrid are going to get him, expect next season to have the same amount of minutes I remember Rodrigo having in his first season at Real Madrid. A lot of people don't know this. When Rodrigo was signed for Real Madrid in 2019, people think he played 1 or 2 games or was mostly played in the Castilla team. Rodrigo in his first season played over 30 games at Real Madrid. He scored he's got a hat-trick in the Champions League debut against Gala. So Rodrigo played a lot of minutes in his first season. And that's how I see Franco being played. Because I look at his competition on the right-hand side, it's only Rodrigo. And if Rodrigo goes, his competition would be 2 players. Would be himself and would be Mr. Fede Valverde, who I expect to see more on the right-hand side for next season. So I feel like Franco is going to be getting a lot of minutes. I think his profile is perfect for Real Madrid. Real Madrid, we haven't had a left-footed right winger since Angel Di Maria, since Gareth Bale, since Marco Asensio, before the injury of Marco Asensio. Like, we need a left-footed right winger because it gives you a complete different tactical standpoint about it. Like, for me, that's why, I don't know if you guys play tennis. Playing tennis and playing against a lefty is very different. It's more difficult than playing against a right-handed. A lefty gives you the spin. It gives you everything that it's so difficult to play against. That's why Rafa Nadal was so successful on clay. Having a left-footed right winger is a cheat code because the overlap makes it difficult because as a fullback, is he going to cut inside onto his left foot? Or is he going to pass the overlap? Like they can disguise the pass so easily. And that's what Franco's done over the past 12 months. And that's what Real Madrid is looking to add him into the team. I expect to see more of him. I expect for him to play. I think he is ready. It's not like Endrick, which I feel like Endrick is raw. Endrick, when we signed him, look at the first 12 months of Endrick. Very, very raw. And I expect Endrick to play more in the next couple of years before cementing himself. With Franco, I don't see him as raw. Vinny was raw. Rodrigo wasn't raw. Vinny and Endrick was very raw when they came from South America. With Franco, I don't expect him to be raw. I expect him to pretty much go all in and start potentially and get a lot of minutes in his first season. And that's why Real Madrid have grabbed him. This is, for me, an absolute must signing. This is a perfect signing. And I'm so happy. I'm so happy that Real Madrid have grabbed him. Because, trust me, if we didn't grab him, a couple of years from now, we will look at that as Franco and say, why the hell did we get him? We've just now missed a chance to get the next big thing. We'll regret it, and he'll be worth about 150 million a couple of years from now. So that's why getting him now is the most important thing. But then again, it comes with a gamble. Is he going to live up to the hype, and is he worth it at 2025 for 45 million? To answer that question, 100%. But guys, I've now given the breakdown. I've given you who I think, what's going to happen to Franco. Put down in the comments what you think the signing's about. Are you happy? Have you got concerns? If you're a rival, what do you think of the signing? Be honest, don't be biased, be objective. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Like I said, off season, but I'm giving you content every single day moving forward. So many transfer rumors, so many more rumors to come about Real Madrid, about Barcelona, about La Liga as a whole. Also, Nations League final is on Sunday, and also the Club World Cup starts next weekend, which I'll be covering from the first game to the last game. So I'll see you there. Peace.